What's going on, champions? What is going on, champions? I call you champions because that's what you are. That is exactly what you are. So, welcome back to Sats and Success, where we dive into all things Bitcoin, crypto, and personal growth related. Before we get into today's content, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your bell notifications so you can be notified of all this fresh content as soon as it rolls right off the press. So let's buckle up and get ready to win today, champions. Today's content is real time. This literally happened just a tad bit over an hour ago. Today I had an appointment with my dentist to get my teeth cleaned. So as I'm sitting in the chair, my hygienist asked how my morning was going. And I had this huge Joker grin on my face, and I'm like, my morning is going fantastic. I just bought this nice dip in Bitcoin, added some sats, some satoshis to my coffers. So again, my morning is great. And she's like, oh, you're into that, good luck with that. And she didn't say it to be sarcastic whatsoever, because it was clear from our conversation she had heard about Bitcoin like mostly everybody at this point, but didn't know anything about it. And so I'm going to give you two things that I ascertained from this conversation that I had with my hygienist. Because I asked her, so do you have any investments? I'm curious. When people are like, nah, I heard of Bitcoin, but I don't own any. I don't know anything about it. I'm curious to know what it is that they own, if they own anything. So I asked her, I'm like, do you own any? Do you invest in anything? She's like, nah, I don't have any investments. I don't do that stuff. I don't really get into that stuff. I'm like, 401k, IRA? She's like, yeah, I got a 401k. I'm like, okay, cool. And so two things hit me during our conversation. The first thing was, my hygienist is like most of the people that walk the earth today. She is a perfect example of what most people walking this earth look like and think like. Now, before I deep dive into this, you're going to hear me constantly talk about four pillars on this channel. Go back and look at my other videos. This is something I'm going to hammer all the time. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I believe and I know that the four pillars of health is the foundation for a balanced and productive life. Your spiritual health, your mental health, your physical health, your financial health are extremely important to how prosperous your life is. And so I'm committed to making sure that we are the best possible version of ourselves, and I'm going to hammer that home time and time again. Now back to my hygienist. So my hygienist, again, is like most people that walk the earth today. She's totally content with putting her financial health on autopilot. She's probably the same individual that every week, every 2 weeks, every month, however she gets paid, her money goes into her 401k account, and she leaves her financial future up to the fund manager to manage that fund. Okay? Here's the problem with this individual. Okay? Some of you are probably a little bit more advanced than my hygienist was, but she said out of her own mouth, and she didn't say this exactly, but she said out of her own mouth, she does not spend any time managing her financial health. None. How, champions, how can you expect to get better at something that you put no time, effort, and energy towards? You can't. You absolutely cannot. She spends no time working on her financial health. None. She said it. I don't do that stuff. I don't really get into that stuff. It's on autopilot for her. And let me make a point here, because there are a lot of wealthy people. They have their funds on autopilot. They have very good fund managers and accountants to oversee their funds. But here's the distinction between those wealthy individuals and my hygienists. They understand what's going on with their accounts. Trust and believe. They understand exactly what their accounts are doing, exactly how they're performing. My hygienist, she doesn't. She didn't. I guarantee you she doesn't know what her ROI is, return on her investment. She probably doesn't even pay much attention to the statements that she receives. She probably doesn't even realize and understand if her fund is structured to be more aggressive, moderate, or conservative. And throughout your life, as you age and get older, it should change. A good fund manager will advise you that should change. Younger years of your life, you want to go more aggressive because you can take those risks to get better and bigger growth. And as you start to age, you want to move from that aggressive stance to a moderate and then a very conservative stance when you are in your retirement years or about to retire, because you don't want to deal with the volatility, right? You want something super safe like a bond, all right? Steady income. You know what you're going to get month after month after month, because at that stage in your life, you just want to protect what you've already grown. So I guarantee and I hope I'm wrong, but I guarantee, because of her comment, that she doesn't know. I guarantee she hasn't sat down and said, okay, I got my 401k, cool. I got that basket of investments. Let me venture off and add something to my portfolio outside of that, just to make sure that it's diversified enough. What could I add to that basket? Should I add some silver, some gold, some Bitcoin, some real estate? Let me add something else. She hasn't done any of that. She spent no time, none. She places no effort in managing, strengthening, bettering her financial health. And this is like so many people in this country, in the United States, and all over the world. They don't spend any time, and they wonder why their life is out of balance. You got to have balance in your life. You have to work on your financial health. And I hate to hear people say stuff like that. I hate to see people say stuff like that, because she's not minding her money. She's leaving it up to someone else to mind her money. And I guarantee you, if you don't mind your money and you leave it to somebody else to mind, they have their best interest at heart, not yours. Yeah, the fund manager's responsibility is to make money for the fund, right? And that's based on his livelihood, his job, him providing for his family. He's not making money for the fund so that you can make money. He's making money for the fund so that he can make money and keep his job, her job. That's why they're doing that. They don't have your best interest at heart. So if you're not minding your money, if you're not paying attention to your financial health, then who is? Because somebody's going to be paying attention to it. And you better hope and pray that the person that's paying attention to it has your best interest at heart. Okay? The second point that hit for me was the fact that she actually wished me good luck with that. She told me good luck with that. I should be telling her good luck with that. Right? And here's the reason why. I don't save in fiat currency. Now, I'm assuming that my hygienist saves in fiat. I'm assuming she has her 401k. Let's assume she's responsible. She's not a person that's going out frivolously spending on liabilities and not saving. Let's say she's saving her money. She's got a nice little nest egg in her savings account. That's risky. You need luck if you're saving in fiat. I don't need luck. Okay, a person that's on a Bitcoin standard versus a fiat standard, we don't need luck. The person that's on the fiat standard, you need luck. You need a lot of luck, because we know for a fact that the US dollar is being debased. We know our government prints a ton of money every year that is debasing our currency. It's been doing that for years upon years. They are printing money and they're going to print a ton of it. So if you are saving in fiat currency, you have your money sitting in a bank account, the reason why your quality of life isn't the same as it was last year and the year before and the year before that, the reason why your purchasing power is being eroded is because of inflation, the silent killer. That's why. And if you're saving your time, your energy, your value, you're saving it in fiat currency, you are being debased and you need a lot of luck. I'm not leaving my financial future to chance. I'm not leaving it to luck. They say that knowledge is power. That's not true. Applied knowledge is power. And many years ago, I obtained the knowledge and I started to understand what was going on with the US dollar. And I made a decision. And apart from accepting Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior and marrying my smoking hot wife, the best decision I ever made was to close my bank account down and save in Bitcoin. Now, I've been in the space a little bit longer, so I can do that. All right. If you're entering the space, you can't just go all gung-ho and like, oh, I'm saving everything in Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is a volatile asset. All right. And you have to have time for that volatility to ride up before you can ever even think about just strictly saving in Bitcoin. You're not in a position to do that. All right. But if you've been in the space for any amount of time, like myself, it was an easy decision for me to make. And it will in time be one easy decision for you to make. But I'm not leaving my financial future, my family's financial future in the hands of luck. I'm going to leave my financial future, my family's financial future, in the hands of a global monetary system that is decentralized and rules-based. Rules-based. It's not swayed by people's emotions. If somebody woke up on the wrong side of the bed, it's not swayed by greed or corruption. It's not swayed by kickbacks. It's a global, rules-based monetary system that all it knows is code. That's it. It knows its rules that's coded to the system. I'm gonna leave my financial future in the hands of that, not some human. Not some human. So we have to understand this. To wrap up this video, we have to champions. We have to champions. We have to be more diligent and more intentional about managing our financial health. We really have to. We can't leave it to chance. We can't leave it to luck. We can't leave it into the hands of a fund manager and not understanding what's going on with our fund. Asking questions, checking our statements, looking into other opportunities to buy other assets. We really have to be very, very intentional about our financial health. Okay? Because here's the thing about our financial health. The most important aspect of our health is our spiritual health. But when your money is funny, when your money is messed up, it is hard to function. It's hard to pray. It's hard to go work out. It's hard to be in a good mental space when your money's messed up. And so we got to get our money right. We have to get our money right. We have to start spending more time learning about assets, learning about the money that we already have, and stop watching this foolishness. If you're watching or doing things that don't add value into your life, it needs to be cut out of your life. It absolutely needs to be cut out of your life. Let me say this again. If the things that you're doing or not doing is not adding value to your life, it needs to be cut from your life. And you need to be doing the things that's going to add value to your spiritual health, your mental health, your physical health, and today, as we discussed, your financial health. I implored my hygienist. I said, I'm gonna give you a bone. I said, do yourself a favor. I said, go to bitcoin.org and read the white paper. It's 8 pages. You may have to read it twice because it'll go over your head the first time. But read the white paper. Because after you read the white paper, then you can at least make a decision on whether Bitcoin is for you or not for you, or you should do some more homework. But at least at that point, you will have some information, you'll have some knowledge to apply. And that application could be nothing, hey, Bitcoin is not for me, or it could be, hey, you know what, let me learn a little bit more about this technology. Seems pretty cool, right? So if you haven't taken the time, the effort, or energy to learn and understand about Bitcoin, I implore you today to go to bitcoin.org, read the white paper, understand what it's about, and understand if you want to continue to dive down the rabbit hole and understand what this beautiful technology is or isn't, and if it is or isn't for you. In the meantime, in between time, I love you, but God loves you more. Be blessed. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.